All right. This video is going to go over web forms and how you can use them. Now, if you're watching this in full screen, which I think you should, make sure that your settings on your YouTube account are set to high definition. Otherwise, it might get a little blurry for you. So, all right, so where are you going to find your web forms, and what is a web form? Well, on your website, your contact form is a web form. It's any page, and depending on what kind of content you've decided to have on it, it could be something included at the end of any page. So it is a piece of content that then gives your user the ability to put their information in and send you back answers or whatnot. So what would you use it for? So maybe you are going to ask for feedback. Maybe you are going to offer services at the bottom of a page, and you wanted them to put their name and their number and maybe something about it, maybe even upload a file, for example. And those are all done with your web forms. So if you're just doing a straight web form and it's not a piece of content, although if you want to do a piece of content and put it as a link or whatnot, then you could add your content and then add a web form to it. But we're going to go over on this one, web forms are found when you mouse over your content. And again, remember, all of these drop downs are shortcuts. So if you click on the main one, it's going to just bring a page up with this. And anytime there are flyouts, right, there are more, these are just more shortcuts. So you're going to content, add content, web form. So what you're going to see on a web form when we do this is you're going to want a title for it. So let's go and say give us, why is this not capitalizing? Give us your best. I'm having an issue with my caps. Give us your best story. All right, so we're going to get a title, and now we're going to add some components to that, right? So if you'd done this as a basic page content, you could write a certain amount of piece of information, some kind of header, statement, images, whatnot. But to get the fields onto your web form, you're on this page here. So what do you typically want from someone that is sending you something? You want to know their name, or maybe you want to know their full name. And then you have to decide what type of field it is. So you have a choice of a date field, email, file, options, a text area, or a text field. So for quick answers like full name, you're going to pick text field because it's going to come up with a block thin like this. Text area is where you're going to have free form for them. So we're going to go, we want it to be a text field. Now we have to ask, is it required? Yes, I want it required. And it will ask you a couple things. I usually just default and go to save. But if the answer that you're looking for requires you to tell them something, maybe you want to go, even though it says full name, please provide full name, right? That's just going to come up with something underneath it, and I'll show you when we finish this up. All right, so next thing you might want to know is their email address. And so for this one, it's real important that you hit email. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to respond back to this web form when you get it over. All right, and do you require it? Yep. Now on this, again, you can do whatever you want to, but you can make certain descriptions about what you'd like them to say. If you would like, you can, for example, if these are already your customers, the default value could be, as long as they are logged in, right? It could be that user's email address as long as they're logged in. So by clicking that, what it does is it already fills that in for them, right? So hang on, we're gonna do this, and then let's ask them some questions, right? So what do you like best? So this is going to be an option set, and let me show you how that goes down. So we're going to give them a choice. Now each one of these, and all of this has instructions. You have to have something in front of the value, right? So you can use one and then a pipe, and dogs. Boy, I cannot spell today. Cats, birds, all of the above. All right, so now you've given them the choices they're going to have to answer, and if you click here, then they can pick dogs and cats, birds and dogs. You know, they could pick them all. And so if you say multiple, that's what's going to come down. You could go ahead and just by standard do the rest of it. All right, so let's say that that's all we want. You've got an email, maybe you wanted to get their phone number. If you do a phone number, don't use this number, right? Just type in phone number and use the text field, because the number will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? It's not what you think it is. So if you wanted them to upload something, so maybe this is a web form you're using to say, send us a picture of your vehicle, right, with the parts you bought from my website on it. So then you would hit file, and it would allow them to upload a file. So so now that we're done here, we're going to go over, see these little bubbles at the top here? We're going to go over to emails, and we're going to set this up, because right now this email is not going to anyone. So it would be, you know, whatever your site email is, or your personal email. It could be, you know, me@mysite.com, right? And we're going to add that. And so email to address is you, and then what your headers are going to be, right? What do you want it to come over to you at, so you understand when you get it? And by default, it is your title of your form. And from, right? So if you hit this and you have put their email in, then it's coming from their address, so you can respond back to it, right? An email name, let's put their name on it, right? So you can do the do not reply on that one. Anyway, it's going to give you all of your information on that when it comes back to you. These are the things that is included in that email. So maybe you don't want it to include the file, for example, or something in the email. So you can pick what comes over on the email, or include all your components, or exclude any empty components. And we're going to save that. All right. So now let's take a look at our web form. So there it is. This is a real simple one. Again, depends on what you want done, and what you're looking to have information back on. But it's very powerful. If you're, you know, in a social network site and you want to poll your people and bring them to your site and ask them to tell you some stuff, this is a really great way to get information. So let me show you what happens afterwards. So we're going to go over here, and here's a list of all the web forms on ASAP. So if I click the title, and this will just be the same way on yours, right? If I click the title of it, it's going to show me the physical form itself. If I just click submissions, then let me show you. I'm going to open this in a new tab. So this is kind of cumbersome if you're just clicking submissions because they didn't have to be logged in when they did it, so their usernames aren't there. The date it was done, okay, and the IP address. But if I wanted to view them, I have to view them all individually, and that's not cool, right? I can hit the analysis, and this is going to tell me after, so all of the things I asked, right, the headers, it tells me how many people, you know, left it blank, use the entered value, your average. It just gives you some numbers, right? How long were these? What did they typically, you know, use for words? So that's your analysis of your response back, right? On that. Your table up here is going to have the same thing. So it's going to have the headers up here are the questions you asked them, right? And then below this is, again, real quick, all the answers to that, right? So you can see it in that form as well and just go through, and this will always stay unless you delete it, right? And then the final one is if, let's say you're doing a contest, and so this was really good information and you got all this good stuff and there was you needed to pick something, well, you can then go to download and you can download as many times as you'd like, right? I suggest you do Microsoft, right? Excel, and you can even select, you know, how you want that to come across with you, and then hit download, and you could get that all in a CSV. So great little tool, and that is working with your web forms. I hope that helped.